Republican. When Ron Paul said that the war in Iraq was illegal, I disagree. When he said that President Bush and his policies brought the attack on the United States, I disagree. We're being attacked by these people. And let me tell you, we're going to go over there and fight them over there so they don't come over here. And if you don't like that, you go somewhere else.
Here's my belief. Let's take Obamacare and put it on the table. You can make $86,000 a year in income and still get a government subsidy under Obamacare. Obamacare is destroying health care in this country. People are leaving the private sector because their companies can't afford to offer Obamacare. If you want to look at ways to find $1.2 trillion in savings over the next decade, let's look at Obamacare. Let's don't destroy the military and just cut blindly. All I can say is the commander-in-chief came up with the idea of sequestration, destroying the military and putting a lot of ways to do this. But the president promised it wouldn't happen. He's the commander-in-chief, and on his watch, we're going to begin to unravel the finest military in the history of the world.
So let's take a look and see how much we do, in fact, spend on defense and get a sense of our priorities. When you combine the Department of Defense, the Veteran Affairs, and Homeland Security, we spend 59% of our discretionary budget on these military items. 59%. By comparison, the Department of Education, 6%. That's about 10% as important as defense, apparently. How much do we spend on justice? I love that. 2% on justice. 60% basically on defense. Now, do you think this has anything to do with how much we need to defend this country? Are you kidding me? We spend 42% of all military spending in the world. 42% of it is spent by the United States.
What's at stake here is that the people who object to this pipeline, I don't doubt their sincerity, they would not allow us to buy oil from anybody or explore for oil here at home. The people objecting to this pipeline do not have an all-of-the-above approach when it comes to American energy. If you left it up to them, we'd be doing windmills, solar, no nuclear power. So the President of the United States has turned this issue over to the most extreme people in the country when it comes to politics. They're trumping the unions. They're trumping the Speaker, the former presiding officer. They are locking down developing an energy source that we need as a nation, and I just really regret that the President's let them take over this issue at a time when we need more oil from friendly people and less oil from people who hate our guts. Dirty oil, to me, is buying oil from people who will take the proceeds and share it with terrorists. This oil content from Canada is slightly greater in carbon content than Mideast sweet crude, the same level as oil we find off the coast of California, and has less sulfur. So the environmental argument, I think, does not bear scrutiny. So at the end of the day, we're not going to get this oil from our friends in Canada because of the upcoming elections, because President Obama is afraid of turning off environmental support, so he's turned off the pipeline. Very bad for America. I yield. I'm not going to raise the debt ceiling unless we get serious about keeping the country from becoming Greece, saving Social Security and Medicare. So here's what I would like. Meaningful entitlement reform, not to turn Social Security into a private account, not to take a voucher approach to Medicare, adjust the age for Social Security, CPI changes, and means testing, and look beyond the 10-year window. I cannot in good conscience raise the debt ceiling without addressing the long-term debt problems of this country, and I will not. Chuck Hagel, if confirmed to be Secretary of Defense, would be the most antagonistic Secretary of Defense toward the State of Israel in our nation's history. Not only has he said you should directly negotiate with Iran, sanctions won't work, that Israel must negotiate with Hamas, a organization, terrorist group that lobs thousands of rockets into Israel. He also was one of 12 senators who refused to sign a letter to the European Union trying to designate Hezbollah as a terrorist organization. I don't know what his management experience is regarding the Pentagon, little if any, so I think it's an incredibly controversial choice. And it looks like the second term of Barack Obama is going to be an in-your-face term. I'm not going to talk to you at all about the debt ceiling, and here's my Secretary of Defense nominee that's going to get a lot of bipartisan